This generation scare me. How are you 30 years old and you're still trying to figure out your dating goals? What? What do you... What? Like, I don't know, find a wife? Get married? Probably should be your goal. What?
That's a very funny opinion. Why would a 30-year-old man want to marry you? Why would a 30-year-old man want to marry a single mom with 3 kids? Why? Just answer me that question. Why would any man want to invite this type of... Can you imagine living with something like this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. These men are... I'm pretty sure she met this dude on a dating app. These men are going through these single moms like toilet paper, okay? Recreational use only is what they've been telling themselves, and they've been passing around. All these men know single mom's going to be on dating apps. There's, for every woman that doesn't have a kid, there's 200 that have multiple kids from multiple dudes on these dating apps, trying to find a husband, trying to find a stepdad for their kids, trying to find that simp to help them ride off into the sunset, trying to get that retirement plan. And it's just not it's not happening. It's not happening. These 30-year-old men are looking around like, I'm a single guy. I don't have any kids. Why would I take on some other person's burden? It's just because that's all a single mom is to these types of men. They're burdens. The kids are burdens. It's just a ball and chain. It's gonna slow them down. These men are enjoying life. They're hooking up with these women every night of the week. He probably dumped your ass and went and got someone hotter. You know, I mean, it's just, it doesn't. And where do you get off trying to dictate what 30-year-old men should be doing in their life? Ma'am, you're a single mom. You've made enough bad decisions. You don't need to be influencing a man to make more bad decisions. I don't think that's your role in life. But what's going on, fellas? Welcome back to another video. I have a few clips we're going to be going over, so hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it.
So I was talking to a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is, in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy.
Now, you need to listen to this language that she's using, okay? Because she says she's been in her private practice. She's a therapist. She's been doing this for 8 months. She said many women would discontinue their therapy once they start getting called out on the stuff they've been doing. Now, she's using that language that's very, very specific language. Basically, what she's saying is that every woman that's been in her, that she's tried to hold accountable, has left therapy. Women don't like to be held accountable. Honestly, nobody likes to be held accountable when they start doing stupid shit. Does anybody like to be held accountable when they do stupid shit? No, nobody does. But women are the only ones who are not forced to be held accountable. Men, look, if we do something, we are definitely held accountable whenever we do something. Every single time. There hasn't been one time where I got away skirting accountability and then was able to blame someone else. That is something that only women can do. Even in instances where women are obviously the attackers, they're obviously the ones that are doing malicious things. Even then, they can start crying and say, oh, well, they just felt like they didn't feel like they were doing anything wrong. And then all of a sudden, they're now the victim. Happens every day.
And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
Well, as I've said in the past on this channel, emotional maturity does not exist. I am going to keep that, because you cannot prove to me emotional maturity exists, because some of the people that I have been told by the internet, by other people, or that they have emotional maturity, have been some of the dumbest souls I've ever met in my life. Seriously, just complete reject. So you can't sit there and tell me that emotional maturity is a factor whenever every single woman I've ever met has the emotional maturity of a doorknob, okay? Just because you can cry doesn't mean you're emotionally mature. It means you're an idiot, is what it means. Are put under the heat, the light's shining on them, they're being told what to do and how to do it, and they don't like that. See, a lot of times men in relationships, they want to fix, if there's an issue in a relationship, a majority of men will want to fix that. Okay, men don't like being in these relationships where there's a lot of fighting and a lot of drama. Men do not like that. Men like peace. So if they care about a woman, if they love a woman, if they're married to a woman and they want to work on that relationship, they have no problem going to therapy and trying to get everything worked out, because they know that they're doing the best they can. They know that they have voiced their concerns to their woman many, many times, and she has cast them aside because she thinks that they are useless because they're coming from the wrong person, the man. Okay, you're saying the right thing, but you're saying it in the wrong tone. I don't think so. These women are completely delusional. So they are going to therapy thinking a lot of times they choose a woman therapist because they think, oh yeah, well, this woman's going to be on my side because she's a woman, and she's a woman, so she's going to side with me. She's not going to side with you if you're crazy, okay? She's not going to side with you if you're crazy. A lot of times these women are doing all sorts of crazy stuff in these relationships, and they're freaking delusional. They have no idea. And their husband, he's probably and a lot of times the man is the most logical thinking one in the relationship. He's trying to bring this to her attention, and you think anything's going to happen? Absolutely not. That's why men are just walking away. Why? What's the point in being in a relationship with a woman that only thinks about herself? A woman that is completely selfish, only to her needs, and is unwilling to even compromise in a lot of us. These women won't even compromise. It's either their way or no way. It is what they want. They've been completely coddled by their father if they have a father. And a lot of times they're single moms that have raised them, and they're completely delusional. On the one hand, you have the daddy girls that aren't really looking for a relationship. They're just looking for another father to take care of them, to bankroll them is what they're looking for. And then you have the ones that are raised by single mothers, which I hate to tell you guys this, but any woman that has been raised by a single mother, you better believe that single mom's talking trash about every single man on the planet to her. So she is raised thinking that men are below her. They're useless. They're worthless. They're this, they're that. And so they spend the first 10, 15 years of their young adulthood just hopping on different dudes. Why not? And then they turn around at 35 and they're have 3 kids from 3 different dudes, and they're wondering why no 30-year-old guy wants to marry them. Really? I've been alive for a lot of years. I've never seen a man chase a garbage truck, ever. Because garbage isn't valuable. Trash isn't valuable. Trash holds no value.
Biggest downfalls I see in women in failing relationships is their inability to take accountability. Now, if you don't align with what I say next, just go ahead and skip over this video because it doesn't apply to you. You are the exception and not the rule. The truth is, and this is a truth I myself had to accept. 1, you only go through what you allow yourself to go through. Is he really acting in his toxic masculinity, or is he asserting his male dominance, and because you haven't stepped into your divinity as a woman, you feel like it's an attack? Is it really that he's not loving you the way you want to be loved, or have you not even loved yourself the way you want to be loved? Thus, you can't even teach someone else how to love you the way you want to be loved.
Well, for one thing, let me just tell you, toxic masculinity does not exist. It doesn't exist. There's nothing toxic about masculinity at all. That is just some buzzwords women like to throw around to make men feel any certain way. I don't have to explain this, but women like to manipulate men and other women's emotions. It's what they like to do. So obviously, calling masculinity toxic is just one of the many things that they do. And they'll call you toxic. They call you insecure. Just the list goes on and on with the shaming language. But masculinity inherently cannot be toxic. It can't be. If you are spending time with a guy, if you're a woman and you're dating a guy, you're out on a date with a guy, and the words that you're using to describe him are toxic masculinity, then maybe you need to just not hang out with that guy anymore. That toxic masculinity scale, it really depends on how good looking you are as well. A lot of women will think that if one guy does something, it's creepy and weird, and why would any guy do that? But if the guy was attractive and he did that, all of a sudden it's cute and charming and amazing. So, I mean, take that as you will.
See, the common denominator is you. You have to be accountable for your own toxic traits. And yes, being a woman who thinks that you are entitled to the best and perfect man is a toxic trait, because just like how men have to earn a good woman, you also have to earn a good man.
So there's no such thing as a perfect man. I think that's probably one of the bigger issues we have today, is that women will think they're holding out for this better dude that's right around the corner. They haven't met him. It's been 40 years. They've never met this perfect dude, but he's right around the corner, waiting for you. I have stopped talking to women. So just stop talking to them. Not really dating. You could call it a situationship, but it's kind of run its course. Stop talking to them. And then all of a sudden they start, I guess, chatting with this other dude, this new dude, posting pictures online. You know, they're together, they're happy. And then all of a sudden they're back into my DMs. Like, no. That's not how we do this. Go back to your new dude that was trying to scam you. There is no such thing as the perfect man. Maybe one day these women will realize, I don't know. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and say that women need to settle or this and that, but there's no such thing as the perfect man. These women will hold out for this perfect man, but there's no such thing as the perfect man. I was watching an interview today, and the guy was asking this woman, you know, ideally, how much would you want your husband to make, you know? And she said $500K. Okay. Now let me just tell you that this woman is almost 50. And she's been on the Blue Spicy app for 5 years. But she wants a guy that makes $500K. Yeah. Good luck with that. Oh, and she also said she wanted $1 million. She wanted $1 million in retirement so that they can move to Italy and live out their retirement in Italy. Completely delusional. She'll be lucky if she lives out her retirement working at Burger King.
And the way you do that is by checking yourself if you are still operating in trauma and survival mode. Do you really understand your divinity as a woman, and do you project that femininity and that divinity? Do you set healthy boundaries, and do you hold people accountable in a healthy way in your life so that they know not to play with you and don't put you through the same shit over and over again? Do you hold yourself to a high standard, thus becoming deserving of a man who is high standard? So the point is, if you are not operating in your highest self, what in the world makes you think that you are entitled to a high value man? And it all starts with accountability. Accountability so you can change where you are going wrong and what you are doing wrong.
And here's another part of the issue, is that no one's entitled to anything. No one's entitled to anything. The types of men that these women are looking for, these men that are maybe in finance, they got the big paychecks, their life is very structured. That you think these men are going to allow these women to go out to the club and girls trips and Miami vacations and sorry baby, I'm getting sleepy at 6 p.m. Bye. No. But this is not going to happen. They get mad when these men start holding them accountable with that stuff. So yeah, they'll be with those guys for a little bit, but it never lasts. You know, that's why these women say, oh, well, they've seen it. They've seen these men out there that have the yachts and the Bugattis. They've seen them. They've been with them. They've hung out with them. Well, why didn't they ask you to marry him? Why don't you have that rock on your finger? Why ain't you living in the mansion? You know, these are the questions that they kind of, you ask them and they're like, well, they can't answer it because they know the answer and it's embarrassing. So yeah, good luck trying to hold a woman accountable in 2024 or soon to be 2025. I can only see this problem getting even worse if that's possible. Can it get worse? Yes, it can definitely get worse. It can always get worse. It can always get worse. And with everything else that's going on, it's going to be a lot more than just women that are trying to skirt accountability. Okay. Because the types of videos I've seen, there's a lot of different types of women that are trying to skirt accountability. So yeah, it's only going to get worse. And then whenever you have those people chime in, oh boy, it is hilarious. At least with a woman like the last video we saw, at least that woman understands. There are women out there that get it. There are women out there that understand, but the rest of them, and a majority of them, you'll see them online. The rest of them are just completely delusional with life, with the way life works, thinking that marriage and thinking a relationship is something that should only benefit a woman when it really should be beneficial for both. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about. You know, you're with someone to enrich each other's lives, not just enriching one person's life. Okay. So you wonder why I'm not in a relationship? I'm not in a relationship because I see what's going on out there. And look, I've tried. Okay. It's not that I haven't tried. I've put forth the effort. I have had the conversations. I've had the communication. I've done everything I can do. Okay. And then I think for every man, it comes a time where you're looking around and you're thinking, okay, well, if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Okay. I'm not going to waste my life spending time with someone who is basically just there to make your life a living hell. That's no way to live. But let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment down below, like the video, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.